And welcome back to Thomas Was Alone. We have just been introduced to this new character, dude. This yellow square who can't jump as high as Thomas. He doesn't like Thomas very much. He's like, who the heck does that Thomas character think he is? Well, interestingly enough, I think he has to jump on Thomas to get to his square over there. Interesting, eh? Yes, quite.
Chris had been doing fine. He wasn't the highest jumper, but he'd held his own. He'd even been graceful at times. Well, not technically graceful, it's probably the wrong word, but you know, fine. There was that skinny little runt leaping about like he owned the place.
So Chris is a tad bit jealous, and you can kind of see why with his lack of jumpy skills. But it's all worth it. Having someone else. Because hey, look at Thomas. At least Chris isn't lonely. A lonely little bugger. Oh, thank God I hit that, respawn thing right before falling into the water of death. That would have been unfortunate. Good golly, Miss Molly.
Okay, this was more like it. A glowy white thing. Only Chris could get to it, which of course made it all the more enticing. What would it do? What new opportunity might this switch open up to him?
All the opportunities in the world, yet only Thomas could reach them. Isn't that ironic in its own little way, eh?
Great. Another chance for Thomas to jump slightly higher than Chris. How fortunate. Seriously, this made the whole switch pressing thing entirely worthwhile.
Exactly what I was saying. Oh man, this narrator reads my mind.
Was this good? Because on the surface, it did not seem good. Chris was pretty scared. Little Red seemed fine, happy to be on his merry little adventure. Chris couldn't shake the feeling that things had taken a significant turn for the worse since Thomas had joined him. Sure, he'd been able to piggyback his way to ever so slightly higher platforms, but where had that got him? Well, to ever so slightly higher platforms, which was sort of his point.
I think Chris is starting to realize that Thomas is ever so slightly useful to him. And he does slightly need Thomas. But if you think about it, Chris is still pretty capable on his own, right? See? Quite capable. While Thomas gets the challenging jumps. Actually, I don't think Thomas can do this jump. I'm quite quizzical on the matter. I might have to have Chris help him out. Help Thomas out. Okay, time to help Thomas out, Chris. Boost his self-esteem. Slightly higher platforms. Oh. Oh, it doesn't help. Okay. I'm sorry, Chris. But I wasted your time. And now you're gonna have to climb on Thomas. Twice. Oh gosh, I'm really not good at this. Push it over to Chris. Chris might be leaving Thomas after this point. Because Chris can fend for himself at this point. My jumping. There we go. Oh, Chris is still here. That's good. Oof.
Chris stared at Thomas with pure hatred. He seemed so very happy at their situation. Friends together, a brave fellowship of quadrilaterals on a quest for greatness. That would be fine. But it was all the obvious observation that Thomas was doing which grated. Every time they saw something vaguely new, Chris would hear a satisfied little from the vaulting idiot. He hoped the next portal would split them up, if only for a few levels.
I think he might get his wish, if only for a few levels. Oh. Now something I just noticed is that Chris has a much lower hop sound. Interesting. Oh, interesting. Hoppity hop. Oh. I'm sure I have this. Thomas. Trust me, my friend. I have got you covered. See? Covered. Better than insurance ever could. Or not. I do have a slightly sadistic side, it turns out. Oh, get over here, Chris. Ooh, it's a new one.
John knew. He knew that this was his chance. A moment to shine. This was game day.
Oh wow, look at John. He's like a basketball player. Well, time to shine, John. Time to shine. Off. Let's see. Come on. Slide over to us. Let Chris jump on you. And get on it. Yes! Good work.
This would not do. John needed room to show off his exceptional skills. As it was, he was trapped on the wrong side of these little dot things. Where did they come from, anyway?
Well, we have a new character who is ever so slightly full of himself. What'll happen to him and his angry friend and his super lonely friend? That is the question, and it will soon be answered in the next episode. See you next time. Toodles.